And speaking of the winters and everything like that, the Eastport Art Center has been a very wonderful is a wonderful place to do cabin fever relievers, and Elijah has been doing recently hosting open mic nights.
Yeah, he did. He just started a couple weeks ago. He did his first one. There's another one coming up. When? Third Saturday, is that March 19th? I guess it would be.
I believe so.
At the Eastport Art Center.
Let's see. Yep, March 19th.
Do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yes, please. If you
Well, I
wish.
just got a little bit of stage fright at the moment.
Oh, that's okay. But I've heard a lot of good things. I saw up on the Facebook Eastport Arts page on Facebook. There was
the first one was a couple weeks ago, and Pat Cormier came out from Alexander, really great local singer-songwriter, homegrown guy. Laura and Colin Baker came out, and they used to play out all the time. They have a small child, so they don't get out as much. So it was really a treat to hear them sing and play together again. And there was a lot of people that were there, I think, that wanted to play that might have been a little bit shy. So me and Heron Weston and Robert Sanchez and Elijah and Danny Marshall kind of formed like a little Insta band. So we were, we were just kind of providing instant backup for whoever wanted to try and do a little moral support up there. But it was a really good time, and it was a good alleviation of cabin fever. And I suspect March 19th will be more of the same. Although, I would imagine people are going to be a little exhausted. Do you know why, Clifton?
If I remember correctly, don't we have a gig on that before?
Oh, you're
that?
right. You're right. Friday at Annabelle's.
Yes.
So people might be out a little late, but I think both events will go really well.
Oh, yes. But I'm very impressed that Elijah took the initiative to do these open mics, because one of the things that...
Well, I don't know if he took the initiative as much as he was drafted, actually.
Okay, but still, I'm glad that you're emceeing it, that you're taking this chance to do these things, because one of the big things when I was in college, one of the big things that I loved was there was an open mic night down at the Beehive Collective, which is just down on the corner below College Hill. And I remember seeing some really interesting people come through, some activists doing some interesting performances or whatever. And it was really it was a nice time. And I understand all too well the problem of getting people to come up. Because sometimes it's like pulling teeth. Other times it's just you need to get someone up there first, and then things start coming along. But I understand that all too well. But
sometimes musicians that, have developed their talents a little bit can kind of look down upon open mics. Sometimes I think a little bit like they might be above it or whatever. What I have found is open mics to performers and singers, I find it's almost like a spiritual healing quality to them, where it helps people kind of be where they are, at where they might be in their particular level of development. They could have. I'll give you an example for myself. When I was at the height of the commercial success I had with Phantom's Opera, we were playing some pretty big venues, and we had some quote unquote big time stuff going on, and kind of all fell apart at one point. Band broke up, and I remember a friend of mine inviting me to come to this open mic, and I'm like, "What? An open mic? Are you kidding me?" He's like, "Yeah, you need to go real bad." I'm like, "No, I don't. I've done this, I've done that." It's like, "Yeah, but the people there don't know any of that, and you need to prove to yourself that you can sing in front of 10 people and see if it still holds up to this freaking obnoxious ego perception you have of yourself." And it's like, "Oh, yeah, you're right." and I found that just the humility of going to an open mic when you're not really feeling necessarily secure about what you're singing or playing or what you're doing, it's usually like a nurturing space to kind of come as you are and in whatever level of progress you are in that moment, and kind of open yourself up to healing and feeling and just doing better, you know?
And when some people say, well, what's the importance of an open mic, I go back instantly to Bob Dylan. Because one of the first things that he did when he hit New York was he started hitting as many open mics as he could. So it's also a wonderful place if you're starting out to hone your chops.
Gotta plant seeds before you can cut firewood.
Yep.
It's true.
Yep. So again, thank you. There's the open mic nights are happening, what was it, every third Saturday?
Yes.
Every third Saturday. So the next one is April 19th?
Yes. No. March 19th.
March 19th. And if you want to stop on by, look them up, www.esportartcenter.com. And the only thing they're asking is that if you have any needs, if you want to play and you have any specific sound needs, just let them know beforehand. Other than that, it's what?
Right, like if you need like 3 tubas or something, might need a little advanced notice on that, you know?
I would say, I can think if anyone around here would use 3 tubas, but then again, I think of
Gene might show up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like...
Well, actually, Clifton, that's ridiculous, because everyone knows that Gene would need at least 10 tubas.
No, he would need...
He'd need 12. He'd need 1 for each chromatic note.
And then he would have to include his contrabass slumberphone, his bedpan, and then he would probably include a couple other weird, eclectic instruments as well. For those who don't know about Gene, he's a collector of odd instruments, and he makes them as well.
And a creator of one.
Exactly. He's actually made this thing called the hubcaphone, which is tuned hubcaps on a PVC frame. But you also have a few interesting...
Yeah, we don't have one of those at the Art Center.
I know.
So.
But you do have couple interesting pieces that I've seen before. One of them is You're a Lefty, and you have this headless V bass that first time I saw it, it's like, wow, I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, I take a lot of abuse for that bass. But I've had it since 1986. Got it for $89. What it was is that in my first band, Gemini, we used to play like a lot of Sweet 16s and like just different like cover gigs. And we're just kids, like we're teenage kids. None of us was really good, but sometimes my bass player had a hard time playing the bass parts on some of the quote unquote harder songs. Like we do like, and he also could sing higher than me. So like sometimes he'd be the singer on a song and I'd have to play the bass. So I needed a bass that I could play upside down so we could share the bass. And we found that one where, the way it is, whether you're playing upside down, lefty or righty, you have equal access to all the frets. So it was like kind of the perfect bass solution. And it was $89 for a teenage band doing Sweet 16s. It saved our life, and it allowed me to do the bass line to Crazy Train so he could sing it.
And the other thing, what always struck me is that you bought it in '86. Basically, that thing is 1 year younger than me. So, and the fact that thing still plays good, still sounds good, and still looks like it has all of its original electronics.
Actually, I did upgrade the electronics a few years ago. I did have some issues with it buzzing and stuff. I didn't have it for like 10 years. A friend of mine borrowed it and never gave it back. And then I saw him again and we were friendly. And he's like, I still have that bass. I'm like, really? Because I'd really like it back. Thank you, Dave Fry. But yeah, we'd moved back from California and we were living in Lavallette, New Jersey. And my friend who I hadn't seen in, I don't know, 5 or 6, 7 or 8 years. I don't know what it was. It's a long time. He brought it back one day, and I still use it on a lot of my recordings. I did upgrade the pickups, and I did have some work done to it. Unfortunately, even with work done to it, there are now some frets that are just not accessible notes. I have to pretty much play it in all lower register now. I can't really play anything above the 12th fret anymore.
Oh, bummer.
So no more lead bass.
Well, speaking of that, are you one of those people that is constantly looking for new pieces of technology, whether it's recording or instruments, or is it like you found what you wanted, you go with that?
I'm not nearly as much of a gearaholic as I used to be. I have a ridiculous amount of stuff, and when I moved here 4 years ago, I gave away, I don't know, at least $30,000 worth of stuff I had. Just like crazy amount of gear I had accumulated. But even since I've been here, I've accumulated more stuff. I'm definitely always interested in technology, and sometimes I'll wear something out, or I'll be doing a new type of gig, or usually I have the gear I need to do the things I have to do, but sometimes I have to go out and seek new solutions. Like I had a iMac that I had since 2006. It died last fall, so I had to go out and get a new iMac, and I had to upgrade to the latest version of
OS.
Well, OS, and also Apple Pro Logic software had changed in the meantime too. I had been using a 2009 version, and my God, were Manuela and Elijah subjected to a lot of whining and crying because it's like this old man who couldn't understand what he was doing with the latest technology. It's like it was almost as hard as trying to learn how to use the remote, you know. But so I don't know. I mean, technology is great, but I certainly don't feel a need to have the latest and greatest thing. Like if I have stuff that's working, I'll use it till it doesn't work anymore. When it's not accommodating what I want to do musically, then I'll see what solutions are out there. But you know, I should say I've also been real lucky too, because I have an endorsement deal with Digitech. An old friend of mine works in their marketing department, and he managed to pull some strings and get me hooked up with a endorsement. So I do get a fairly steady stream of new toys to play with from them from time to time. And I don't even actually like all the stuff they send me, which is part of the reason they send it to me, because I'll give them honest feedback about their pedals and their effects and be like, well, this is freaking awesome. Like, this is not. You know? And so, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's some amazing stuff out there right now. If I had more time and more money, I'd be all about it. But I barely have enough time to utilize all the tools I already have. I don't feel a particular need. That being said, though, I mean, I agonize about gear all the time if I'm going out to play. Like, what should I play in stereo tonight? Should I do this or that? I get pretty concerned about the technical quality of what I'm doing. Like Elijah yesterday, we were getting ready for this gig at Annabelle's. I'm like, should I run in stereo with a hand-built 5-watt tube amp? And he's like, Dad, it's a bar in the middle of winter. It doesn't matter. I'm like, no, my sound matters to me at all times. So there are some eccentricities like that they have to tolerate. But.
As with every creative soul, there are the eccentricities that we all must deal with. Luckily for me, what I like to usually do is just figure out what that eccentricity is and just see how I can fit within it. That's how I've survived.
Pretty smart. That's how you survived.
That's how I've kept sane without any drugs or alcohol. With that being said, how about we get back to the music? This next one is from your Winter Meditation Volume 1. You want to tell us about Cabin Fever, if you remember anything about it?
I'd have to hear a little bit of it first. How about we play it and then I'll comment on it.
Okay. I'll play a few tunes and we'll talk about them later. You're listening to the Back 40 Radio Show with your host Clifton Moser on WUMM. This is Cabin Fever from Winter Meditations Volume 1 from Colie Bryce. And this is WUMM 91.7 Machias.